992.2 GTS. This has the 3.6 liter twin, it's actually not a twin turbo, it's a single turbo hybrid system. It uses a very small battery and uses that battery to spool up your turbocharger, which gives you immediate torque and really transforms this car. We're talking about a 0 to 60 time in the mid twos. Porsche says 2.9. Car and Driver did it in 2.5. Runs the quarter mile in 10.9. We're talking about a 10-second car here at 129 miles an hour. Now, we're in the safest place to do a launch or a run out of this car. Farms on both sides, no driveways, no cars, so don't do this at home, but I did want to give you a little bit of taste of what this car is like. We are in Sport Plus mode, as you can see, and I'm gonna go ahead and launch it, which just means you put your foot on the brake, and then you go ahead and put your foot on the throttle and you drop it. You ready? I will tell you, this car punches way above its weight class, guys. That feels all day like the previous generation 992 Turbo S. Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Adam. Thankfully, you clicked on the thumbnail and gave us a shot. So we are reviewing the new 992.2 Porsche 911 GTS. This has the new, and I really think it's revolutionary turbo technology. Instead of putting an electric battery and an electric motor, like most other manufacturers have done, Porsche, in their infinite wisdom, has used it to use the electric battery to spool a big turbocharger and basically give you immediate torque. What that does with the driving experience of this car is give you unreal levels of performance. I'm telling you, this car kicks and punches way above its weight class now, with 450 foot-pounds of torque, and it feels a lot more than that, to be 100% honest with you. We're talking about 0 to 60 times in the mid-2s, running the quarter mile in the high 10s, a lot more spicy than your traditional old generation GTSs. I reviewed the 992.1, I reviewed Jeff's, we did a run out, it was an awesome car, 430 foot-pounds of torque. I'm telling you, this car sounds better, has more punch, and in a lot of ways, they've kind of fixed everything that bothered me personally with the previous generation 992. Number one thing that bothered me was the fact that the exhaust and the engine was too quiet for a sports car. This generation is not the case. Watch our launch, watch our point of view drive. I think you'll agree with me. This thing has all the spice that you want and just the perfect amount of noise. Overall though, we're gonna bring on the owner, good friend of mine, Ben, who recently got the car. He's gonna talk about his spec, talk about this oak neo metallic green color, which is one of the premium options. We're gonna go through it all today. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. And if you got something out of this review, please like it, share it with a friend. We'd really appreciate it. Let's get started. All right, first of all, we gotta thank Ben for coming to the HQ, my good friend. Thanks, sir.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, what a great time we got to have with this thing, huh? All right, my man. Well, tell the folks, were you looking at the GTS for many years? Were you always been a Porsche guy, or were you considering other cars? And maybe we should start there.
Yeah, I think the first inception of this idea was that I was actually looking at what is the greatest car there is. And so I was going through all the different possibilities, and I kind of settled on an F430 Ferrari from about 20 years ago. It was the last car with a naturally aspirated V8 with the gated manual, mid-engine. It had all the things you want as a driver's car.
Right.
But the more I thought about it, I wanted to see what else was out there. And I especially wanted to see what else was out there in the new car category. And that's when I stumbled upon this. And I have to say, I do not regret the decision for 1 second. I think this may be one of the best cars ever made, all around, just from the perspective of the technology, the level of performance, everything about this car overall really makes it a very, very special car. And I've loved it so far. It's new, but it's just making me grin ear to ear.
Well, if it's not making you grin, you got the wrong one, but I'm glad to hear it, man. I'll tell you, from my first impression driving the car today, wow, it's just fantastic. I mean, everything is so good. The brakes, the suspension, the throttle input, the way the steering feels, the power, that new turbo technology is, it's like you don't even know they did anything.
Yeah.
That's the crazy part, right? Like it doesn't feel like a hybrid technology, but it doesn't, you know what I mean? It's like, it's just so well integrated into the 3.6 liter engine. You just never know it's really there.
Yeah, you know,
it's kind of wild, right?
Yeah, it's funny too, because I think, you know, if you're a kid that grew up in the era of like, you know, the first iteration of supercars, the Countach and the old 911s and the Testarossas, you know, you are yearning for that kind of visceral experience, but everything goes through an evolutionary process. And this is the best of, you know, decades of engineering. It really, I mean, the only thing bad you could say about the car is that it's too good. And so if you're really hoping to have this kind of like, you know, clenched, you know, experience that those other cars presented, it doesn't give you that. But what it does do is give you the most precise driving experience you could possibly.
Now let's go through the spec. Now I first of all want to start off with these lights. And you actually just told me recently, guys, check a look at these lights. These are the new HD Matrix headlights. If you replace these lights, I believe are $17,000 aftermarket. So,
oh God.
Yeah, you may want to just make sure that you watch those rock chips, but they're gorgeous. Look at it. They're so cool. They look like so high class. They're multi-leveled now. These lights do move with you, and also they're supposed to blind the person who's in oncoming traffic, correct? However, you just told me something interesting. Why don't you enlighten the folks?
Yeah, so that is only available as an option if you purchase the car in Europe. But based on regulatory stuff in the United States, it's not that it's illegal, they just haven't cleared it through the regulatory process yet. And so it comes basically bricked. It comes shut off from factory. I was able to find somebody who had the new PIWIS system to be able to reconfigure the car for Euro spec, and it makes a world of difference. It is a very advanced technology. It basically allows you to drive at speed with the high beams on at all times, and if anything comes at you in the opposite direction, even if it's, you know, it could be a deer, it doesn't necessarily have to be a car, but anything obstructing the roadway coming in the opposite direction, there are something like 20 or 30,000 individual LED bulbs within the housing of these lights.
Wow.
And it will literally shut those off so that those cars are not affected by your high beams.
I had no idea. That is so cool. Well, I'm glad you got that working, and I did not know that from the factory that is not currently enabled, even though you pay all this money for these lights, right?
Super frustrating.
Like that makes a lot of sense. Anyway, but we won't go there. So now let's talk about the elephant in the room with this particular car, and that is the completely restyled front, basically the whole front of the car. I mean, completely rethought. Now they have this. So this, correct me if I'm wrong, is active aero, right?
It is.
So this closes and opens based on throttle and speed. So it closes for aerodynamic, I guess, on the highway, and then maybe for more track driving, or, you know, it probably has more aero and cooling capabilities enabled. Is that accurate?
That's my understanding of it, yeah. And so, yes, you know, in photos and video, as you guys are watching this, you probably are, you know, this is a very controversial design feature of the car, because in photos and videos, it does not look that great. I personally think that in person, it looks pretty good. But you know, really what it's about is what it's actually doing. And I think it's a really cool piece of technology. It's certainly helping in terms of the aerodynamics of the car and airflow and all of those kinds of things, which are so important to the performance. And it's a high performance car. So, you know, I always say function over form.
Yeah, no, it's not bad looking though. I mean, it's actually grown on me a lot, even just sitting here staring at it, right? It's modern, but it is definitely a departure from what was, right? That is a fact. Now, let's talk about the rest of the specs. So, you know, what did you do? Like, you kind of walk people through it. So you went with you could have gotten a carbon roof, right? But you went with the sunroof, which is a great option. I would personally chosen that as well, especially for this type of car. You went with painted mirrors, right? Versus carbon fiber, which you could have done. And then on the brakes, you went with steels and not PCCBs, right?
Yep.
So was there a consideration between
Porsche carbon ceramics? Was it mostly a price? Didn't want to deal with the squeakiness, or
It was mostly a price. You know, I'm not going to be tracking the car a lot. You know, very seldomly. The steel brakes are incredible. They're the brakes out of the previous model generation turbo, from my understanding. So they're big brakes, super powerful. So they'll get the job done. Really what you're paying for if you get the PCCBs is two things: no brake dust and the yellow calipers, and they look sexy. I think the red calipers look great on this car, so it just wasn't worth shelling out the extra for me.
I will tell you, we took a pretty, I would say a 410, maybe 510 at most drive today, and the brakes were great. I mean, plenty spicy.
Yeah.
You know, so to your point, you just don't need to go with the PCCBs. They're good for bragging rights. Now, coming around to the back here, you got the blacked out badges, right? And
that comes standard.
That comes standard, right? This is the new design of the rear, and guys, I think this is the best looking GTS back end they've ever had, or maybe in multiple generations.
Yeah,
it's fantastic. It's
twin pipes,
it's gorgeous.
Twin center pipes. Now, the one downside I will say is that these are not. I hate to say it because it you know, everything on a Porsche is always functional.
Yeah, what you're going to tell me is these are just for looks, right?
These are just for looks. If you look down into them, you can see that there's a separation between the part and the actual tailpipe.
You know, again, I'm going to let them give it a pass for that because most cars do that these days, but it looks so good. And I love the way they've restyled this whole back line as one thought. And now we do have the wing up. Obviously, this is adjustable. We were just taking a drive. We had it up, so we just left it on accidentally. Don't hate us for that, okay? We're not trying to flex on you guys or anything. This is really cool, too. You could have got this in the painted color, right? So you had multiple options. You went with a blacked out look.
Yeah, that would have been a waste of money, honestly, with a dark green color as well, because it would have been so subtle. In fact, the only part that's painted, if you want to zoom in here, is just this small satin center strip right here. So it's not the whole thing. It's just these little small slits in between.
Yeah, you're talking about this right here.
Yeah, frankly, a wasted option. If you get a yellow or a super bright color, it'll give it
stand out.
A little bit of a pop, but not on a dark color.
Okay, the color. So this is a premium color. This is oak green neo metallic.
Yes.
So gorgeous color in the sun. Gosh, it's got a great flake. It's got definitely deep tones, light tones in the sun. At night or inside, I'd say it's dark. Yeah.
Yeah, it can be black during like almost a black, you know, at night. I actually like that. It's got this kind of dual personality to it.
It does. It's very adult.
Yeah,
it's a subtle color, right? I mean, it's not flashy. It's not Oslo blue, right? It's not shark blue, right? It's not going to get you a lot of like flashy looks. So it's an adult car. Would you have gone, now that you've had it, with any other colors, or would you recommend this color to somebody else?
So the funny thing about this color is when I first had the idea of maybe I'll look into a Porsche, obviously the first thing you look at is a GT3. I saw the Touring, and on their website, they're highlighting the oak green Neo.
The new color, right?
The new color.
This is the new color.
That's their, you know, their new hot color, whatever. It was the impetus to start looking at Porsche, excuse me. So I would not get another color. I think this is one of the best colors. It's modern and it's cool looking, but it also has that heritage throwback to it.
Yes.
I think it is, and it looks absolutely fantastic on this body style as well, I think.
It is. I love the color. I loved it from hello. I really did. I mean, it's not flashy though. So if you get this color, guys, know that it's a subtle color, right? It's an adult color. If you want something that's like, look at me, new money, etc., stick with your bright blues, you know, your pink, right? Your bright yellow, etc., which they still offer on this car. But this is definitely a phenomenal color. I really like it. Now, can we show folks the front trunk real quick? Some of the practicality. You want to pop that for us real quick?
So this might take one or two times because there's a little bit of you have to pray to the Porsche gods on this thing. But
as long as you have the key in your pocket, it works pretty well, though every once in a while you do have to do one or two extra passes. So as you can see, you have a painted hood here. And you have quite a bit of practical storage, great for a rally or great for an overnight weekend, etc. And then is there anything else to cover kind of on the exterior as far as upgrades or anything that you'd give a shout out to or a call out to or anything you do differently, etc.?
Yeah, so one thing I definitely would recommend is the The wheels, these are the GTS center lock wheels. They come standard in anthracite, which is kind of a dark gray. I got them in the satin black. I think it's a much better look. It's much more aggressive looking. Matches the trim of the front and the back spoiler as well. Right. So that's what I would recommend there. These side lights here are Euro Spec, so they come from factory US in all orange. Yeah, and I got the clear ones, like hideous looking. And then the other thing that I did
while we're staring at this, let me interrupt you, but it's 245 tires on 20s. Okay.
On the front.
On the front. So 245 back here or up there, and then back here, I think is it 315 or 305?
These are 315 21s, I want to say.
Okay, so they're staggered wheels. Let's double check that real quick. Where is it? Can't see it.
Right there.
315s. Okay, 315/21. So a big fat tire back here. Now, you do have winter tires on here currently. We should make that known. So these do come with Pirelli P0s, I believe.
Yeah, they designed a new Pirelli P0, the Type R end specs for this car in particular, for the hybrid system. Yeah. I don't know too much about it, but I do think it's pretty cool that Pirelli did come out with a tire that is specifically for this drive. The only other option that I did get was the Sport Plus side skirts. They're a bit more aggressive. The other ones kind of just curl around the bottom. Huh. These kind of have that aggressive fin outwards. Oh, yeah. And you can either get them in the satin black finish to give the whole car a complete base look. Right. I opted for the painted look. I think it's more GT spec. Sure. I think it looks much cleaner. It also gives the car a much lower profile from the side, which is an added bonus.
I like it painted for sure. All right, real quick, guys, before we jump in the car, these are probably my only con. Every once in a while, when you go to grab the door, it will actually retract itself for aerodynamic reasons, and sometimes it's hard to kind of get it open. So I actually had that happen once with the last Turbo S. I went to go and grab it, and it actually retracted in that exact second, and it kind of grabbed my hand a little bit. You can get all of this in Alcantara, which is actually what comes with the GTS. Now, Ben opted for everything to be in leather. This is a leather premium package. So all of this is leather, and I gotta say, it really classes it up. And that leather also carries into all of this and all of that, which is normally in Alcantara in the base GTS, which they call race tests. Go ahead, bud.
So a couple things to point out here in terms of the spec. These are actually custom puddle lights. I designed these myself. It kind of matches the silhouette and the welcome message on the dash, so it's kind of just a cool nod there.
Yeah, that is cool.
On the door, you've got the 930 package. It also comes on the seats as well. So it's just the quilting, but it gives that kind of like nice, almost like Daytona-esque.
Yeah, it does.
Look to it, which is pretty cool. And then down here, I opted for the carbon fiber illuminated door sill. I think it's just a really cool look.
Very cool. And yeah, let me show you the seats real quick, guys, with that Daytona look. So you can see here that look does carry through to the seat. I really like the new look of the 18-way seats here, and you also have the Porsche crest, which is an upgrade. All right, coming to the interior, I think there's multiple things I want to call out that are different with this generation. Number one is you no longer have any type of a key or even a knob. Now it's a push start button. So that's a big change. In the previous generation, they have like this little piece here that you actually have to physically turn. I honestly like that, so I wouldn't mind if they brought that back, but it's fine the way it is, you know?
Yeah, I would have preferred it as well. The one thing I will say is because of how this engine turns on, it actually makes more sense that it's a push button because it doesn't turn over like a normal car does.
Right. And I will say the next thing I want to call out is everything in this car is so quality, guys. Every button, and I said this in my last 992 review and the GTS review I recently did, but every button has a tactile feeling to it. Whether it actually has a textured feel, like this has a textured feel, this has a textured feel, but everything just has such a great feeling to it when you push it. By the way, you don't have to have the engine on to use the front lift, which I think is great. So it uses that battery to do that. In every previous generation, you would have had to have turned the car on, make sure all the doors are shut, and then you can use the lift. Kind of a pain in the butt when you're already in your garage, of course. Now, outside of that, Ben has done my favorite upgrade in the whole wide world, and I highly recommend you do yours. He got rid of the electric shaver.
I did, yeah. So I found a
So-
company that offered these aftermarket ones. This is really high quality. I was a little nervous because it is aftermarket,
Sure.
but this is a really, really well made piece, all leather wrapped around here, and it's designed to resemble your car actually, or
Yep.
the 4s or the 3s
Yep.
RS shift knobs.
Now, I will say, guys, you cannot shift even with this, okay? You can move it up and down for reverse and drive, etc., but you cannot shift with it. The only way you interact with this car as far as rowing the gears is with these paddles. Now, you should also know these are not stock paddles. So what brand of paddles did you go with here?
So these are Weissach paddles. They're off of the GT3 race cars. They're magnetic, magnesium, really, really high quality. They've got that nice tactile feel and that very cool click clack, mechanical sound to it.
Yep.
These cars don't come in 6-speed at all. So I, was trying to bring back a little bit of analog, and
that does help.
This was the way to do it.
The other thing you did personalize in here is that 911 logo right there on the right?
Yeah, that was a decal from Suncoast Motorsports. It's kind of a heritage thing, so works with the heritage color of the car. They used to have these back in I think the 70s and the 80s for the model designation, so it's kind of just a nice little throwback to that.
Yep, you got Sport Chrono here. This is carbon fiber. Now, I will say, can you get your phone out and show them the weave of the carbon fiber? So we were talking about this. Porsche does a different looking carbon fiber, guys. Like, take a good look at that. It actually kind of looks like plastic. It's probably carbon fiber, but they have their own unique weave.
Yeah, it's not like any carbon fiber that I've ever seen before.
Yeah.
And I'm a big proponent of the matte look. I've got, in the BMWs in the last 10 years, they would have an exposed carbon. Right. I think it was one of the nicest versions of carbon I've ever experienced. This doesn't feel as premium as it should.
Now, I will also say the front screen here. So unlike the previous generation, which had the analog gauges here, this one is all a screen. Pros and cons of that. So there's multiple modes of what you can adjust the screen to. I'll go ahead and turn the car on, and I think it's this one right here that adjusts the screen. Is that right?
It's going to be the one on the right.
This one right here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this, you can see here, guys, you have quite a few modes. So I guess this is going to show you some of what you're listening to. It's going to show your tire pressure, etc. Then you have this one right here, which is more of your sport mode. This is what we drove the car in today. So you have your, your general things you want to see, your tire pressures, and you have your rev gauge at the very top there, that classic Porsche look. And then you have something that's a hybrid. This is more of your standard look. This is what you're going to find with any modern car, where you have, your miles per hour. You have your PSI boost pressure. That actually would have been cool to look at during the drive today. Just noticed that. And then, of course, you have all your other information. This is probably your standard, right? I got to say, I don't hate that. Notice the RPMs go all the way to 7,500. Quite a bit for a car with this much power and torque. And then let's see, what else we got? And then you got this view, which is kind of more your GT view, your touring view, right? Where you literally just have a giant map, and you can even go one level further than that and have the whole thing be a giant map. So, that's the positive of having it all be a screen. But would you prefer an analog gauge like the old one, or do you like this?
Yeah, I mean, everybody, I think, who's, a driver really prefers that analog, because you want to see that needle go through the revs.
It is cool.
That said, I think it's worth the trade-off. This is some of the best technology out there. I've seen these in Audis, and I've always kind of thought they were really cool, that you could go to full map mode and all that other kind of stuff when you're just kind of cruising around.
It's funny you said that. The R8 does have that.
Yep.
The V10 has that whole center screen that is neat.
And the really, really cool feature is the fact that you can get that red line, to the 12 o'clock. That is, what happens on very, very few cars that are specified for track use. And it's just a really cool touch.
Now, with the hybrid technology, are you noticing any fuel economy improvements? I mean, your range is saying like quite a bit. I mean, 339 miles is total, but it's still saying 259. You came over here with a full tank. We drove quite a bit. I mean, you're getting about, 320 out of a tank?
So I did opt for the extended fuel tank.
Which
it raises
26 gallons?
I believe so. It raises it up from 16. And that matters a lot, because these cars are not, it is a hybrid, but
it's
the
not hybrids for performance.
Exactly. It is not for fuel economy.
Because you can't drive this car without the engine on, right? Unlike other plug-in hybrids where they've able to, you can go 30 miles or 20 miles, whatever, that's just battery. That doesn't exist in this car.
Correct. Porsche did an ingenious thing, which is that they knew that the regulations were going to be very stringent. They had to make these hybridized cars. So what they did very cleverly was that they designed this car with the battery specifically attached to an electric single turbocharger, as opposed to having anything to do with the engine at all.
It is a complete departure from every other manufacturer too. Nobody's done that. They literally invented the technology.
Yeah, I think
It's
the first time it appeared was in the 918, which is
interesting.
And then that's Formula One racing technology.
Yeah, well, that's a $1 million car, right? So it's very cool that's trickled down into the GTS, and it's great technology. A couple of things I want to point out to you guys. You do have your drive mode selector down here. Again, great tactile feedback. You have Sport, Sport Plus, and Wet. And then this little red button here gives you a 20-second Sport response mode. As you can see, when I hit it, it's actually giving me a countdown. A really fun party trick. You could be in complete normal mode or even wet mode, and then hit that button and you have full beam mode for 20 seconds if you need to pass somebody or you got some a-hole on your rear or something. Trust me, he ain't gonna be there long when you hit that button. Now coming over here to the screen. So again, you have some great use of physical buttons in this particular car. You have the ability to raise your exhaust, your traction control, and your sport PASM or your sport suspension. But then you also have physical controls for your AC, your volume knob, your manual mode. Your parking's here, so this is actually how you park the car. So you don't shift it into park, you push a button. You do have your ability to open your sunroof here, your heated and your cooled seats. This is something I don't like in the 992 generation. It's a really bad place to have a cup holder. If you do have a giant cup here, and you now have a cup, so if you're going to shift or change the volume, you're going to run into it. But it is what it is. It's where they placed it. They still have the cup holder there though, right? So that's probably the one I'd use more often than not.
And they also give you the option. This is actually removable. So if you take this out here, they give you this little backup. I'm not really sure what you'd put in here, but it's another option if you.
You know what? I think I'd run that.
Yeah.
I got to be honest. I think
it's a little cleaner too.
It's way cleaner looking, and it's nice to have something here. You can put your AirPod in there or something.
Yeah. You know what? I think I might retire this.
It's like how much are you going to really put a drink in there? If you're going to put a drink, you put it on the right. Yeah. There you go. Now let's talk about the screens here. So one of the things we were kind of overwhelmed by, I think, on this generation is if you want to turn off auto start. First of all, guys, it is very obtrusive in this car. There is no physical button here to turn off auto start and auto stop, which is a technology that comes on very aggressively in this car. I did comment on our POV drive. In order to turn that off, you have to hit one button here. I believe you have to hit vehicle, and then you have to click auto start stop. So it is 3 buttons. Now, is it hard to do? No, but it's something you do have to do every single time, which is annoying. However, you can program what he called the Joker button, which is this button right here. So you can program that specific button to do up to, I think, 12 features, you said?
Yeah, let's, I think we might be able to find it in here, actually. There's might be under assistance, possibly. There's so many different options with this car.
I will tell you guys, this is one of those vehicles that, I hate to say it because it's still a sports car, but you could probably spend a good amount of time in the owner's manual and learn a few things.
Displaying a green hue to match the outside.
Yeah, let's show folks that. See here, guys, that is neat.
But if we want to, we can adjust that, turn that to a variety of different colors, and so there's just a ton of things that you can do here. This is the color wheel here, so you can kind of change it if we want to turn it to red.
You can see here, those seats do fold down, don't they?
Yep.
So you actually have some practicality, I think.
Yeah, it can turn into a bench.
Yeah, it can turn into a bench seat. So again, not like the most practical back seat, but pretty useful. Anything else to cover in here? I mean, you got the Sport Chrono package, which is nice. Everything up here is covered in Alcantara, guys. Like, very premium car. Everything is stitched nice, right? Everything's got leather. In this case, Alcantara. Very nice car. Like, everything just feels so premium, from the steering wheel feeling to the buttons to the way the car shifts and drives. awesome experience. And you know, the negative, maybe like you could say, these doorknobs, they're a little finicky. Sometimes they open, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they require 2 pulls. You know, but you know, I gotta say, like, the quality feeling of the door, it's heavy. It's, you know, it's got a solid, you know, just certain things about Porsche, man. Like, they pay dividends, you know.
It is unlike any other car that I've had in that everything is so intentional. Like,
Yes.
sometimes it feels a little over-engineered or a little heavy, but there is no question when you're opening a door, it feels like you're doing it with intention. Everything about the car is done with intention. Every push of a button, every turn of the wheel, everything. I wanted to save this moment. This is now me officially saying, okay,
It's mine.
it's mine. I own it.
My
So
fingerprints
we'll
shall
peel
go
off-
on the screen.
peel off the protection.
It's
Nice.
thick too. Yeah, that's what she said.
That was very satisfying.
There we go.
All right, let's peel this sucker off.
Very good. Nice. Ooh.
There we go.
All right. Officially yours, good sir. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I love the car, man. It drives so nice too. It's just a real driver. All right, guys, we are in the 992.2 Porsche GTS. This is going to be my first impression drive. As you guys know, you get to learn it just as I do. This is literally the first time I've driven this car. So we're going to start off with the normal street drive, normal mode, keeping auto start stop on. We are going to keep the exhaust on just because why not? It is still a sports car. But yeah, first impressions, love the way the steering wheel feels. I should also mention that Ben is mic'd up with me. I will also say right there, you notice start stop is very aggressive on this particular vehicle. I would actually call it annoyingly so. When you come to a slow speed, it will shut the engine off, as you can see right there. Now, why would you want your car to shut off when you're still rolling over a speed bump? But it goes and does it so effortlessly that it's not that annoying, I would say. What do you think, Ben? I mean, is that an accurate statement, living with it?
Yeah, I mean, it's very subtle because you don't have the turn of the engine because of the hybrid system, so it does kind of go on and off very quickly. That said, it is a 911, and I think most people would prefer it not to happen.
Yeah, organized.
You don't have the turn of the engine because of the hybrid system, so it does kind of go on and off very quickly. That said, it is a 911, and I think most people would prefer it not to happen.
You know, when you drive this thing on the street, guys, you just don't need to rev it out. You know, the GTS is absolutely wonderful with the torque, especially the new hybrid technology. I mean, you really can just baby the thing, and you, like right there, you have so much torque coming out of these turns. You know, you don't have to go and downshift it to second or third like you would have on the previous GTS generations. Those cars, especially with the 3.8 liter flat six Carrera which didn't have the turbos, there was nobody home below 4,000 RPM. So you constantly had to rev the car out like most of your old school cars. But with the 992.1 and now this generation with the hybrid turbo, I mean, the power is effortless all the time, and it sounds so good. I mean, just listen to it. It's awesome. I mean, again, we're taking it very easy. It's such a good car, guys. Like, really, really good. PDK, world class, one of the best transmissions ever made. That was full throttle for 1 second. And you get up to that crazy speed so easily. You know, it may look like we're going fast. I'm telling you, we're not. I mean, I'm just literally buttering through these turns. The performance of these new generation cars is laughable. It's like nothing else out there. You know, there's new hybrid technology. I mean, the fact that this is rear-wheel drive only, but it puts the power down even in a cold day like today, it gives you so much confidence. God, I could be doing 25 over into that turn. I could be doing this turn at 90, you know? Just crazy, guys. But so much fun, you know? They really killed this generation. I mean, the torque I'm feeling, it's unbelievable. I mean, I'm babying it, but it's so much shove, you know? The butt dyno on this thing is just checking all the boxes. Awesome. An awesome driving experience. Guys, these are world-class driver's cars. Yeah, there's no manual. Yeah, you can hate on it all you want because of the price, but you get in this thing, you drive it, you feel the steering in your hands, the seat's comfortable, the brakes, the suspension, the torque, everything is just awesome. It is such a great driver's car. No negatives from the driving experience at all. I wish I could find some, but I just can't. I feel like they really checked and fixed all the issues I had with the previous generation in this particular one. And Ben sure has a fun car to enjoy every day, let me tell you. All right, launch it.
There's nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit!
That is awesome. Woo! Dang, this car is so fast. So fast.
My head was light from that.
Yeah, don't do that at home, okay? Again, very safe spot to do this. Like, one of the only spots I think you can safely run out a car like this on the street. But what do you think?
I have a whole new appreciation for this car. I mean, that felt... The only other thing I could compare it to is a P100D.
Yeah.
In
Model S.
ludicrous mode.
Yep.
That is the level of speed launching this thing.
Yeah. And it does it so controllably. I mean, there's no drama. You don't have a lot of tire spin. You know, it's stable. You know, it's one of those things. You know, it's only rear-wheel drive. I just don't know how it puts the power down. It's very electric car in that nature, you know?
It's because of that instant torque.
Yeah.
You know, that's similar to an electric car.
Yeah, where it just calculates the exact amount you can fully put down without braking, right?
Yeah.
Because you felt it holding it back a little bit in the first probably 30 miles per hour, right? And then it really punched.
Just for that first half of a second, and then your face is melted.
Yeah, and then it's just like, you just feel it building. Awesome. Yeah, great car, man. Glad you got to experience what this car can actually do in a safe and controlled environment, right? Very cool. Well, my critique of this car, the previous version, the 992.1, with the 3-liter twin turbo, 3.0 liter, was that it was too quiet. This particular one being the 3.6 with the new hybrid technology, I think in sport mode especially, revving around 25, 3,000 RPMs, you know you're in something special, and especially if you actually go and stomp on it for a second, like, it's loud, right? A lot louder than the previous generation. So I'm pretty sure Porsche got the memo. Now, Ben here is still considering upgrading the exhaust even further. So which brand were you considering?
So after doing some research, I decided I wanted to go with the Soul Performance. They have two versions. One is just the downpipe, and the other is the full complete exhaust.
Got it.
I opted just for the downpipe because I'm not looking for more gains, really. I mean, this thing is already incredibly well equipped from a power perspective. I just wanted a little bit more of that special sound that you're hoping to hear from these cars, and you do hear it in the upper band of this, but not so much, I think, in the lower band. So I'm kind of hoping a little bit more of that, rawness that you hope to hear from a 911.
Yeah, I mean, in normal mode, it's quiet, right? I just moved it back. Now you're in 1,000, but in sport mode, pretty spicy. I mean, a lot more than the previous generation. So when you do the exhaust, you save 15 pounds, and you also get, 20, 30 more horsepower?
Something like that, yeah.
So, again, now how much is the cost to do that, though?
Too much. That's the truth.
Like $5,000?
It's, about thereabouts, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, you could probably sell the exhaust, but, at the end of the day, I don't think it'll ever add value to the car. In fact, it might actually hurt the value of the car. You know how that is when you go to trade cars, same with performance modifications. And this particular class of car, right? It's a lot of the purists or whatever, they're like, oh, you've changed something, my warranty or whatever. They're always worried about it. But I don't think you're going to have an issue with the warranty. I would run that by Porsche. Just make sure you're not doing anything with the ECU. Because the problem with this new technology is there's no third party that can fix it. Not that I know of, because of all the new hybrid technology. I mean, it's literally going to require you to go to Porsche. So right now, you know confidently you can do whatever you want with the car, push it as hard as you want to this bleeding edge. If it breaks, take it back to them, wash your hands, you know, get a loaner. You start adding performance parts, it's always an asterisk, right? And, you know, I don't think they're going to have the capability of avoiding it with an exhaust upgrade, but if you do a tune or anything like that, yeah, you can forget about that warranty. They're going to throw the book at you.
Yeah, and you can add quite a bit of power with a tune, but
of course,
again, with a car that is this capable, if you're driving it on the street, it actually, I think it's a demerit because you can't even really tap into the power of this thing as is.
No.
If you add more power to it, or if you adjust the mapping, there's no advantage.
I honestly think this thing has the absolute perfect amount of power. I'll say that again and again and again. It has the perfect amount of power. 450 foot-pounds of torque and 532 horsepower for a 3,600 pound vehicle is ideal. You know, you still are not going to be able to use all that on most racetracks. And you definitely can't use it on the street. I don't care what you tell me. You cannot use this power on the street. I have not full throttled it one time today. We will full throttle it once today on that one run out, which you guys will see if you didn't already see. But for the rest of the drive, you know, going on a B road, enjoying it, you're 50% throttle max because you just don't need it. You don't. I mean, what do you want to do? 130 miles an hour going around somebody's driveway? No, that's ridiculous, right? So I think this is absolutely the bleeding limits of performance that is necessary in a car like this. Now, you start getting into the GT3s and the GT2 RSs and the race cars that they make. Obviously, having 5, 6, 7, 800 horsepower makes more and more sense, you know, just to keep up with the Joneses. But you got to admit, man, power-wise, this thing is spot freaking on, right?
I wouldn't change anything about the power.
The last generation I thought was pretty spot on too, with 430 foot-pounds of torque, but now in the mid 450s, and I think the torque is underrated. I really do. Power-wise, guys, the sound, the feeling, the performance of it from a sports car perspective, this generation is night and day better than the last generation. Now, the one that I did review, Jeff's car, which was an aero kit with a manual, it was an aero kit with a PDK, so same transmission. He had an upgraded exhaust, and that car was on par with the feeling and sensation of this car from the factory. That's what I'm getting at is they've improved the interior sound. They've improved the turbo spool, the exhaust note. They've really transformed it in this particular generation. So hats off to you, Porsche, because this is the way the previous generation GTS should have sounded. I mean, it's squatting on you even on the highway. You know what I'm saying? It's just got so much performance. It's awesome. It's so much fun. Really gets the juices flowing. I mean, you gotta admit, it's a great car. Like, it's a sports car.
I think this is one of the best cars the Porsche has ever made.
It's got the balls, guys. It really does. The only negative of the car is the price. I mean, it's not the driving experience. It's not the performance. It's not the way it makes you feel sitting in the driver's seat. Everything is tight. The steering wheel feels great. The brakes are great. The suspension's great. The transmission's great. Now you've upgraded these paddles. They're great. It's comfortable. You have all the technology in the world. You got Apple CarPlay. You got everything you need for the daily. You know, even in Sport Plus mode, you go over these bumps, it's still comfortable. It's just incredible technology that Porsche has, where you still get all that you want out of a sports car, and at the same time, you get everything you want out of a GT car. You know, just a good, comfortable car to enjoy on the daily. And while we're at it, let's try cruise control. So there you go. I'm gonna set it. There we go. By the way, 840, these bumps are atrocious. And yet, this car is so comfortable. All right, so let's see. Let's go up. So now cruise control set. Now, this doesn't have the lane, or like, I guess, adaptive cruise, right? Because it has that giant thing on the front.
Correct. It's a huge eyesore.
Yeah.
A lot of people, you know, the technology is great, but from a visual perspective, that's a miscue.
Yeah.
So I opted not to get the adaptive. You know, if you're doing long drives on the freeway, I can understand the benefit of it.
Sure.
I've driven in cars that have it. It's wonderful technology.
Right.
But you're driving a 911. You
Yeah.
should drive it.
Yeah, no, I agree. And like they even offer like lane steering technology, I think, on the new generations, right? And that's or do they not? They offer like lane keep, but
This
not steering.
actually does have the lane keep assist.
Okay.
But it just doesn't have the modulation where it will adjust the speed.
Right. I mean, guys, I love it. What can I say? It's a great driver's car. It really is. I'm not just saying that because Ben's my friend or because I'm a Porsche fanatic. I would love to tell you that this car is awful and heavy and doesn't drive good, but that is not the case. They absolutely nailed this generation. I just wish it wasn't $200,000+. You know, you used to be able to get a GTS for like $140, $150, nicely spec'd. Now it's $250 nicely spec'd, you know, and then you start getting into these paint to sample things and all this craziness. These cars just get absolutely astronomically expensive. And yeah, it'd be nice to have the manual option too, but I tell everybody this car is so good with the PDK. The PDK is the best transmission in the world, period. Absolutely, period. You did hear the lane keep technology kind of flashing at me there. I went over the line maybe a half an inch. It gave you a little, beep beep kind of a sound. You can turn that off, of course, but it's built into the car.
One thing I will say, as somebody who loves driving manual cars and has done so my whole life, the trade-off that you get with the technology, because the technology fits with the transmission. You cannot have this hybrid technology with the manual transmission.
Correct.
It just doesn't work.
Right.
And the trade-off is that you get the best experience, the best acceleration, the best performance that you could possibly get in a car. You lose a little bit of that connectivity, that visceral experience.
Yep.
But with the adjusted paddles, I brought a little bit of that back, and so you really are getting this very unique experience. It's unlike anything I've ever driven.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think in this particular example, the benefits outweigh any of the negatives of not having a manual. And the PDK is so good, guys. It's like telepathic. It knows exactly what you want to do when you're in sport mode. Even if you're not paddle shifting, right? And that's what makes it so good.